The next question is about the cold homes crisis, and it's in the name of Assembly Member Qureshi. Thank you.
Thank you, Murad. Yes, I think there is a serious problem with fuel poverty, energy efficiency in London. There obviously would not be helped if we had Labour's price freeze when the prices are coming down. But it's also true that the average depth of fuel poverty experienced by London is now one of the lowest in the country, and excess winter deaths fell last year by over 1,000, though there's clearly a lot more that can and must be done.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is actually a seasonal question from me, because I think this is the appropriate time of the year to raise fuel poverty. You're quite right, we can't be complacent. There has been a death in excess winter deaths between the last two previous winters, down to 1,700. But nevertheless, that's still a scandal that many people are passing away because of not being able to heat their homes. There still is actually a record number of households estimated to be in fuel poverty, just over 250,000. And they're stuck, a lot of them are stuck in private rented housing. What I've been asking for a number of years is actually an action plan on your part. And can I ask you, where's your action plan?
Well, I think
to tackle particular problems.
I think you've begun by very generously by accepting that there has been an improvement, and you cannot exclude the possibility that some of the work that we have done, retrofitting 400,000, half a million homes as we've done so far with Renew, putting in the London rental standard so that landlords have to meet their energy efficiency obligations, and that includes addressing very cold homes, cutting council tax, expanding the living wage, and so on. The Know Your Rights campaign that we drive forward. It may be that those are helping to make a difference. I'd be very pleased if that were the case, but I'm not remotely complacent about it. We've got to retrofit lots more homes. We've got to save Londoners money on their fuel bills, not just by shouting at the energy companies, but by insulating. Well, and that is very there is a huge opportunity here, by the way, for those energy companies to pay a little bit back to society. Indeed.
And can I just bring this to home for you? I mean, in a prosperous constituency like Uxbridge and South Ruislip, how many households do you think are in fuel poverty there, and how many winter deaths do you think happen there?
The answer is too many.
And
the solution is to continue with what we've been doing. And I think you were kind enough to point out that there had been a reduction in excess winter deaths of about 1,000 from 2,750 in 2012 to 1,700 in 2013. We'll have to see how we do this year. I am not remotely complacent. According to the new DEC high-cost, low-income indicator, there were 277,000 London homes living in fuel poverty in 2012, which was a big reduction on the previous year when it was 306,000. I can't give you the figures for individual constituencies in London.
Indeed, but maybe I should, because I mean, let's face it, Uxbridge and South Ruislip is a relatively prosperous constituency. It's just under 3,000 households, and
that's in the context of 277,000 in the whole of London, which is down from 306,000
and 37 access winter deaths. And dare I say, parliamentary candidate for the Labour Party, Chris Summers, will probably know those numbers better than yourself.
Do you have the figures for the reduction for the
reductions? I don't. I only have them for last year. But I think that
might be that strikes me as being the relevant figure.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that it appears not to have made the impact that you'd like to think in Uxbridge and South Ruislip. Can I just move on to another area?
Well, I'm not certain that's the case.
Okay, please do. In December 2012, actually, you did pledge to campaign against fuel companies who are ripping off consumers, but you haven't delivered too much on that front. Shouldn't you now back the creation of tougher powers to Ofgem to make sure that prices do reflect the wholesale savings that energy companies are making?
I certainly think it's right. I certainly think it's right that fuel companies, energy companies pass on the colossal cuts they're seeing in the cost of production and the cost of their raw material, their commodity, to the consumer. I think they've had a sort of 60-70% cut in the cost of their basic raw material. That should be turning up in people's bills. One thing that's stopping that happening is, of course, the previous Labour policy, which has now been scrapped, which was to have a price freeze, which was totally mad, because it would have meant, well, it was very difficult to see how it was going to work. But A, it was very difficult because nobody has succeeded in freezing prices since the Emperor Diocletian tried it and failed.
I didn't ask anything about the freeze.
The best way forward is to insist that the price cuts are passed on to the consumer. And if they don't, I personally, I'll tell you what I think.
Thanks.
If they don't, I think that there should be some consideration given to an energy levy on those companies to help pay for the kind of retrofitting that we want to see.